Hi everyone. I am currently in the south of France. I moved here from Washington DC more than 1 month ago for the first half of the summer, and I will soon continue the journey to Switzerland. Before DC, I was in Miami for a few months, and the atmosphere in the US was honestly quite heavy, as you can imagine. But following this transition, it felt like the right time to return to this channel. I'm Noemi, and this is Renaissance Nomad, a space that's slowly become a kind of home for those moving through systems, structures, and selves. And today I want to share something I wrote, a reflection on what constant movement really does, not just to your outer life, but to your nervous system, your perception, and your field. And I wrote this a few weeks ago. It's on my blog. But I wanted to read it here because sometimes hearing things changes how they land in the body. And this is a grounded look at what long-term movement can do to your system and how to make that experience sustainable. This is because depending on how you approach it, a nomadic path doesn't just shift your worldview, but it can also recalibrate your whole internal structure. And it can do this in ways that are both empowering but also sometimes destabilizing. So why am I sharing this, and who is it really for? There's a growing group of people, digital nomads, remote workers, seekers, expats, who are often overstimulated but can quite explain why. Spiritually curious but skeptical of the travel is healing cliche. And disoriented after years of movement, but a little bit ashamed to admit it. And in my experience, it's rare to see this state named with honesty and depth. And most of the time it's either romanticized, so live your best life, or flattened into tips and airport hacks. And on the other hand, sometimes you hear from other nomads who burned out and gave it all up, but you don't really hear much in between, which is the space that I want to cover here. So I want to offer a different way of looking at it. You're not broken. Your nervous system has been in a constant adaptive loop, and this is about what that means and how to give it space to heal. So the dominant story you hear is nomadic life equals freedom, enlightenment, global citizenship, but this reflection offers a different frame. Nomadic life, when approached with depth, means nervous system recalibration, ego collapse, field saturation, and eventually integration if you're lucky. And of course, not all nomadism is the same because there are many ways to live this lifestyle. For example, living in Canggu, playing paddle or pickleball in the morning, co-working in the afternoon, and vibing at the same parties as in Lisbon or Tulum. That's not exactly the type of traveling or depth I'm referring to, even though I have nothing personal against that. But this video is for those who have traveled in a way that dissolved their inner structure, willingly or not. It disrupts your predictive model of safety. The brain's primary job is to predict what happens next, so it can regulate the body efficiently. This is called predictive processing. When you're rooted in one place or within one cultural framework, you start to build stable expectations. So what the streets sound like, what people wear, how long it takes to get food or resolve a conflict. Even what emotional norms feel safe in that environment. But as a nomad, you're constantly updating that internal model. So every new location becomes a kind of neural recalibration. And over time, your brain becomes fast at adapting, but it can also become fatigued. And predictive overload can lead to subtle disorientation, low-level overstimulation, or even a kind of emotional flattening. It trains your nervous system to stay alert. New environments mean new micro-rules, body language, threats, and unspoken social norms. So your neuroception, the unconscious part of your nervous system scanning for safety or danger, becomes sharper and more vigilant. And especially if you're highly sensitive like me or have a trauma-informed system, this can lead to hyper-awareness of tone, energy, and posture, quick detection of hidden agendas, sometimes with terrifying precision, intolerance of incoherence or manipulation. So the result is that you become excellent at reading people and places, which I call fields, but your system may rarely, if ever, fully relax. It weakens the illusion of fixed identity. Most people reinforce their identity through routine, place, and social mirrors. So when you remove those, your ego becomes porous. You might experience identity fluidity, exposure to shadow, existential questioning, and moments of dissociation followed by deeper clarity. The result is that you no longer are someone in a fixed sense, but you become someone always becoming. And that can be liberating, but it's also disorienting or destabilizing if not consciously integrated. It expands your field of perception. By moving through vastly different cultures and energies, your system is exposed to cultural and other frequency shifts, energetic patterns, some chaotic, some sealed, contradictions in what truth or value means socially and more broadly. So this slowly reprograms you to perceive beyond ideology, spot distortion fast, and reject groupthink and emotional performance. So the result is that you start reading not just people but places as fields. And you know when a city is cracked open, when a room is performative, when a community is energetically clean or not. That's pretty rare. It trains you in sovereignty and isolation. So you have to build internal structure where others rely on external ones, relationships, cultural belonging, and social capital. You can become more self-contained, psychologically sovereign, resilient and boundaried, but it can also leave you emotionally isolated, misread by others, untethered, as if your center of gravity exists outside of time. The result is that you become your own field, and that's powerful, but it can feel isolating unless you find others who can meet you there. So as a summary, a deeper nomadic path trains your nervous system to adapt quickly, sense deeply, and trust subtle perception, question identity as a fixed construct, build coherence from within, but it can also leave you often overstimulated, sometimes unmoored, and rarely mirrored in a way that feels stabilizing. So when done from a deeper place, you don't just travel, you deconstruct and recalibrate. Your body knows it, your brain rewires for it, and it's only with enough room for integration that you can truly sustain it. That's all I wanted to share for now. Thank you for being here with it, and you can take what resonates and is helpful to you and let the rest move through. I'll be back soon on the platform, this time from Switzerland. So see you soon and ciao for now.